Yalla, infidels back live, youtube.com/MROVW, the weak or the strong, who got it going on. You're dead wrong. Get ready for the Shaq attack as we're back for the Friday Veteran Locker Room. It's bWo Stevie. It's Insurgency Hamin, and we're ready to tear it down, infidels. Yalla. Yeah, good morning. I saw the chat room filling up early here already. We had a great crew last night, really enjoying the Conspiracy Horsemen, one of our favorite episodes and guests ever. Lord Jamar from Brand Nubian, hip hop legend. You've seen him on Vlad TV. You've seen him all over the place, man. Just a veteran of the locker room when it comes to hip hop. We're back here today in the Friday Veteran Locker Room with Big Stevie Cool. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
Doing good. I agree with you. That was not only one of our best episodes, if not the best one, but the fact that he would like to come back on and discuss topics we have discussed and like long ago, talking about dinosaurs, the Smithsonian Institute, which is now the institution, little Mandela effect right there.
Yeah, right.
And of course, I have to figure out how in the world we have the same setup and he sounds awesome and I smell like shit.
Bro, I mean, he's a professional MC. He's been on the mic for 40 years. Not that you haven't been cutting promos either, but that's the God, Lord Jamar right there, man.
You can tune this Rodecaster Pro, and we'll get to that later. You can really fine-tune the DS-er. You can fine-tune the Big Bottom, the RL Exciter, RL Exciter and Big Bottom. Sounds like an OnlyFans.
That's a backup dancers for our rap group.
Yeah, so it was great, though, just because there was so much information we got within that time and the fact that he would like to come back on because we barely scratched the surface on what we can really talk about with him.
I think it's going to be an ongoing friendship here, man. I'm really pumped about it. And as a hip hop mark from the 90s, like things like this are beyond my bucket list. You know what I mean? Like where I'm just like the circles we rolled in and what we've created with Hamin Media Group and the Conspiracy Horsemen and like-minded free thinkers. And now, we're kind of getting there. This week was a big week for downloads. We're up 25% at Hamin or hackerhamin.podbean.com. When I was just checking things, I think they said they had written to me because people were having trouble downloading last week that there was a DDoS attack or whatever it is on them. And then the next day we had like 6,000 downloads but everything's up about 200 to 400 more than usual. So I'm wondering if there was some type of gating or something like that where people weren't getting our stuff, man. But appreciate everybody who's downloading us wherever you're listening, Spotify, iTunes, live on YouTube. Still trying to have John Carnage pull some strings to get us rehooked up with Twitch. Maybe I'll put a little effort on that this week, but it's been nonstop with the Patreons and the producers. There's new A show out with Aaron the Idol Stevens and April Hunter, specifically about Sensei ? Josephus. So they're just giving great value there. Awesome signups at the Big Vito brand and the A show will get you entered to win ECW autographs. It'll get you entered to win Young Bucks autographs. And I just put out a tweet too, the brosterscoffee.com offering 33% more for free this month on all online orders, especially that Russo Bro coffee that's helped support us, you guys. And I know a lot of you guys bought it already, loved it, but now you're going to get 16 ounces instead of 12 for the same price. So appreciate you guys supporting all of our sponsors, ZordosOliveOil.com as well, Stevie Richards Fitness.com, and X-Chair as well, where right now you can use the code StevieX and get $49 value X wheels for free. I think they're $100 value. They're phenomenal.
It's unbelievable. I can't believe that it's completely undervalued.
I know. So know your worth and make sure your lower lumbar is supported with an X chair, man.
I tried to send him an email to ask if I can change the code to Planet X just for you.
I like that. Yeah. Hey, last night we could have used Malcolm X if we wanted to, I guess, but they probably would have canceled it.
Hoover will come back from the dead and put us on a list.
Well, as long as he's wearing a negligee, I think that's the main thing.
Is that something that you're pointing the finger and 5 more can point back at you? If you're somebody like Hoover, if you're somebody, I mean, we always start off with a little bit of conspiracy spilled over from Wednesday nights, but my God, man, you talk about the blatant hypocrisy of both sides or whatever side you want to, just humans in this kind of power structure and how they act. And now they're just not even, they're not even trying to hide it. It's not an era of social media or the information age, because we really have gone back to technically the stone ages of truthful information or any information we're allowed to consume. We're probably going to be somewhere on the list, somewhere within where they're going to eventually come for us and either shadow ban us further or outright just say you're deplatformed. So with that being said, they're still blatantly going out there and people are finding the information that they're doing, do as I say, not as I do type shit. And of course, the stimulus bombs are being dropped all over the place overseas. That's why I call them now stimulus bombs.
That stimulus bomb.
So, and they don't give a fuck. And the people that really do continue to trust them. And what are we at the year anniversary of 15 days to flatten the curve? Shutdowns, lockdowns. You can't go to work. You can't make money. Help is on the way. Here's $1,200. That should get you through for the next 5 years, because the $2,000 check, and like I say, I'm in Georgia here. So I saw the campaign literature from Warnock and Ossoff that basically had a $2,000 check guaranteed to each and every person if they get elected the day after. Biden said the same thing. You will get a $2,000 check, which, by the way, $2,000 ain't going to do a fucking thing. $10,000 probably isn't going to do much either. Like you say, $20,000 or a UBI, if that's what you're talking about. True socialism, true helping the people out, or the government is your caretaker from cradle to grave. You're talking about a UBI. But now they won't even give you a $15 minimum wage. They said, we can't even do that. So what we call that in professional wrestling is getting worked. We all got worked. And I don't agree. It's not a matter of whether I agree or disagree with whatever I just said. The fact is, it was promised to you, and here's what you get.
A kick in the ass, pretty much. And
it's your fault. Right here.
Just clap for that, you stupid bastard.
Yeah,
I will stay for the next 4 years, because I think that sound pad will be relevant for the next 4 years.
That's we've got our takes. Shout out to Nobody Worth to Remember. We remember you, bro. He says shout out from Rainy Israel. So shout out to go ahead, man.
I would love. I'm not cutting you off, because that guy back that you just brought up, you can bring his thing back up, his comment. I would love to know what the vibe and what the atmosphere is in a place like Israel right now, where everything seems totally destabilized, when Trump had that peace accord, which hasn't, it was an achievement that hadn't been done in a very long time. But right now they have to be feeling the heat from all around for retaliation, for whatever blowback that might happen from bombing and then making aggressive moves we may not even know about against Iraq, once again, against Iran, and now repackaging ISIS. And they're, basically they same organization repackaging, and also
you want the Daesh, ISIS, ISIL. They're just going to rebrand again.
Well, because Syria was the one that actually shut ISIS down. I'm not saying that there are good guys or anything like that, but that's why we haven't heard anything from ISIS in a while. Trump was doing whatever he was doing. The administration was doing, well, they might not even been attacking them. They just weren't funding them. They weren't giving them money. But wasn't Assad in Syria really going after ISIS very hard?
Yes, absolutely, because they were using him as a proxy army and all the white hat stuff. We saw all those bullshit things. Remember, they're pulling the dude out of the rubble,
right?
Yeah, and action. Oh, but we got that on tape. We were rolling too early when we didn't edit. Been there.
We don't even know. We don't even know if that information. There's so much disinfo out there. So anything I just said. That's where we're at with the Horsemen. We got to go into sort of like debunking mode, because we've gone down the rabbit hole. Q. Oh, today, by the way, good news. Trump's going to be president, because that's what Q says right now. So here we go.
So that's the big news of the day. Trump's president. We got it. Thoughts on Texas lifting the mask mandate? Everything is open. Yeah, we're going to see. Well, I mean, we love that, but at the same time, it's for those to point fingers and how dare you? How dare you go against it? How dare you? Well, I fucking dare, and I'll slap Greta across her motherfucking mouth 2 times. So that's how it goes.
Here's the thing with that too. The thing with that is, you might say, oh, well, Governor Abbott and these other governors that took away the mask mandate, like you just said, people might be relieved, but then again, more divisiveness. The two Americas that I predict that's already kind of there, not so much a civil war, but just two Americas, two kinds of economies, two kinds of support for local businesses. It's going to be more divisive than ever. And I believe there will be somewhat of a cold civil war. I don't think people are going to fight and shoot each other. I just think it's going to be constantly doing that, and with a flare up now and again.
Yep. And crazy divisiveness. Looks like, things are status quo there in the strip, but I don't know, man. You live in Israel. When I see things like Fauci getting $1 million cash prize, that's just the Kabbalists. They're all working together to do it. And when I see, the chosen people making lists of people who aren't vaccinated, so then police can come intimidate them into it. And then in Russia, they're actually kicking down doors and doing forced inoculations. Then that was out on. Yeah, I sent that. I don't know if I sent it in World Star, but there's footage of them as SWAT team, and then they inoculate the family in these ghettos. It's just that's where we are, and I just can't imagine any Jews ever wanting to be on a list again, and here they are doing it to themselves. Less than 100 years later, it's unbelievable. Well, 120 years later, unbelievable. So it's that's where we are in a dystopian future, and they're going to push back against it. The talk is just going to become too loud. They can't, they put the accelerator down too quickly, and it's going to crash. Oh man, but we're going to try and not crash today, as we've got all your wrestling headlines post AEW. Shaq attack last night, big Shaq Diesel. We'll be talking about that on Light the Fuse this afternoon in depth with MSG and the Chris Silvio, hopefully joining us around 1:00. We'll be back live here, so appreciate it. We're 32 strong right now already, Stevie. Shout out to Frank's Pickle Barrel Ass Rat Salad Review, Rachel Raines, which is the Kayfabe Wife account, Mike Roche, Hope Spot. I saw Amp Williams in the house. What up, big homie? Nobody worth remembering, like I said, checking in from lovely Israel, and Big J, Chris Mason, our own TikTok guy, and BR Talk, Hope Spot. Appreciate all you guys. Saw my man Brendan Doherty earlier too. Shout out to the homie Posse Associate Brendo, and Scott Woodford, Disco El Swayze, looking for those early morning hookups, and we might have some sexual news here. We'll get to it, man. But yeah, I had a great time last night. I really needed it. Those Horseman shows bring me back to a grounded place when I'm just, need to have some fun and hang out with my boys in the locker room. And I really enjoyed the shit out of it last night.
Yeah, I finally came out of the fog of the concussion, so that's why I was kind of like talking a little bit more and getting in there. Of course, I don't think Lord Jamar knows my dry sense of humor at times.
Not yet, but dude, I just, and I'm not trying to mark it, but I feel like there's going to be some kinship there. I actually went over to the Godcast afterwards, which I believe is comedian Godfrey's YouTube channel. And I'm a fan of his as well. I went and saw his stand up, and we talked for a while. He's a big woo guy, and he came through Second City, but he's really made his name in comedy in the last 5-10 years. And Lord Jamar left us to go over there, and then they had a chakra expert, and I'd say I'm not gonna. I watched for 5 minutes, so I can't really tell you. But
is Godfrey the one that imitated Steve Harvey, and Steve Harvey got mad at him?
Yes,
I love him.
And I'm hoping we can get him on too. Brilliant mind. Maybe we just tail Vlad TV, because a lot of the guests we talk the same, but Vlad is a little more hip hop based. But they were doing it's almost like black spirituality, like what they're trying to do there. You know what I mean? Together and push each other forward in a certain way. But they had a chakra doctor on, and they were doing some type of mantra and mind clearing exercise live on YouTube last night. So it was interesting for the little bit I got to watch, until I had to watch Tully Blanchard beat the shit out of fucking Marco Stunt. So
there you go. I did see some clips from AEW this morning when I was doing cardio, so I can comment on those.
Okay.
I will say this: how are we in 2021? It's amazing that people from all different walks of life and people that have different musical taste and people that are different ages and even different colors can be on a podcast and talk and even agree to disagree and be fine with it. Oh, different religious beliefs, if any. How about that? Had no problem at the end with anybody. Nobody got offended. Everybody was cool.
Yeah, 2 atheists, 2 Christians, and a Nation of Islam guy, and everybody's on the same page. You know what are you going to do? Like the most opposite ends of the spectrum with the most respect for each other as artists, what they've accomplished in their careers, and what we're saying as society trying to be divided. If that ain't the conspiracy horseman, bro, I don't know what is. You know?
And goofing a little bit at the same time with the audio stuff and everything, and just being a little.
I don't want to heat on him, but like I watch a lot of Vlad, and I'm a hip hop guy, and I could just tell. And then I'm not trying to shit on Lord Jamar here, but he definitely had his more proper, I don't know these guys yet face on, as opposed to being relaxed and being his hip hop persona. But once I tried to break the ice, so did you a couple of times, and once about 10 minutes in, you could see, all right, it's with the boys in the locker room, kind of, and it was that feel,
Yeah, you went all modulated there for a second. But I got it. You basically said he let his guard down. And anytime you do it, we're the same way. If we get interviewed by people we don't know, and that's kind of why I don't really, besides the fact that I'm like Russo, I don't want to just keep reliving my career over and over. You know what I mean? Telling us, so what was it like to do this and that? And it's all cool and everything, but at the same time, you get that nervous, like, okay, is this going to be just straight up reading questions like the H3 podcast? The guy reads the questions from the laptop and just goes through no matter what your answer is? Or is it going to be a bunch of guys that can kind of just free flow and talk shit and then go and break it up with a little comedy, but still get the point home and let Lord Jamar talk? You know what I mean? That's a hard thing to mix up and have a good balance.
Yeah, GGP was on his rocket last night a couple times, but that's just how it is, man. But like I said,
I was going to rib him too. I was going to say, like, after he went through, I was like, is there a question in there?
Yeah.
But he made it great. He made all the great points, and he lives right in the middle of all the bullshit too in Brooklyn. So can't really fault him for that. And then speaking of can't fault anybody, we really do need to get Billy Ray back on. Like I said, if we're going to be in that kind of debunking mode and show people as an example, hey, sometimes we may like count on the wrong horse or follow the wrong cue or believe the wrong cue. Yes, I'm talking about Q. It's March 4th. Trump is president. But Billy Ray, although he may not have the answers, he might not have the alternate theory to call out the bullshit on that side too, and not believe in any man. And that's something coming from somebody with belief. It's easier for me probably in a way to say I trust and I believe and I worship no man because I have my beliefs. But as an atheist, I'm sure you're the same way because you're just like, I don't trust one motherfucker out there.
Not even a little bit, man. Especially
people do that, man. People look up, people even look to us sometimes. And we're just telling you right now, that's why I want to put that into the shows, that we're not perfect. We're very imperfect. And we want to show a vulnerability. A lot of conspiracy shows and conspiracy theorists are afraid to do that because we do not want to create a cult of personality where we end up letting anybody down.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that. Somebody says I'm losing weight out there. Well, it's because of Stevie Richards Fitness and my personal health coach.
Y'all are you bitch. Y'all are you pussy. Y'all are you fat hoe.
I wish you would start a podcast of affirmations, daily affirmations with a guy who doesn't look like he sounds at all. Right.
100%, man. But, we're just trying to stay as humble as we can and move everything forward as always. But I think we'll take another round at a TV show, cracking, see where that goes. We got some ideas and I don't know, everything is clicking. But yeah, man, Mike Martin, appreciate that. I have been working hard this week. I got about 6 weeks ahead of me. No days off before the week after WrestleMania. I think I'm going to take a little 4 or 5 day break. But I'm going to go hard as hell in the paint until then. Stevie Richards Fitness, precision striking on YouTube, a little yoga to stay loose, my massage gun, and then just try to do as much as I can with dumbbells, 35s and 25s, just up in my strength. So if we get booked in Texas, we'll be ready to go. So, yeah, man, appreciate you guys all. 41 strong here this morning for the Friday Veteran Locker Room. Stevie, are you ready?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm going to remember this now.
I know. I'm sorry, buddy. So these are your headlines from WrestleStink and ProWrestling.com. You guys, thank you very much for hanging with us this morning. Of course, it's going to stall on the very first one. There we go. So last night we saw the debut of the Big Wiggita. I like the shirt, no BS. I thought that was smart. No big show, you know what I mean? But Paul Wiggita, promises the Hall of Fame worthy signing at AEW Revolution. So a major surprise was teased for AEW's Revolution pay-per-view this Sunday. While making his TV debut for the promotion tonight on the AEW Dynamite, wrestling legend Paul Big Show White announced the Hall of Fame worthy talent is headed to Revolution this weekend in order to sign with AEW Wrestling. The world's largest athlete provided no clues as to the identity of the big surprise, only noting it's not who you think. So little teaser that way. We'll speculate on who it is, but is this the right move to do the teaser to get everybody to tune in? I like it because they're billboarding a surprise. Or is it the ECW moment of you think you're going to get the finish and then the swerve because the surprise walks out unannounced and the place loses their mind? Which booking style is more effective? I mean, I can go with Al Snow and Danny saying, why would you do that surprise? We could have sold this place out if you would have put them on the poster, but you can't. On the poster, you just have to put an outline of somebody with a question mark and let people guess instead of doing the, oh my God, he's here. Stevie, what's your view on that, and any guesses as to who it may be?
That strikes me as a Dixie Carter change the face of wrestling every month promo. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you're predicting that, you're setting yourself up for a little bit of a letdown. The hype, unless it's somebody, I don't know who it could be, but unless it's Punk, you know, Punk would be the only one. Austin, those two are not likely. Punk's a little more likely than Austin, but Hall of Fame, like, it really limits the thing. I think it was more ECW. You never know who's going to show up, so you continue to watch, so you never let down. But when you raise the bar up to that, now you're in a thing of what happens at the next event. This is the thing with Dixie. What happens at the next pay-per-view? Oh, there's no new signing, no Hall of Fame. The bar is already set that high for the expectation. So therefore, from now on, it's a letdown. Does that make sense? Yeah,
absolutely. I think the walkout is the better way to do it. All the setups of, ooh, look at us. But it does, from the booker and numbers standpoint, get people talking to tune in, because if it doesn't get stooged off, and we've got guesses in here from Ric Flair, Lita, Rob Van Dam, Brock Lesnar, we're talking, Hall of Fame. Big Ray put out his money's on the Ultimate Warrior based on who they've been signing lately. So,
I mean, you never know.
Is it good?
The ghost of the Ultimate Warrior. It makes sense. Always believe. Let me get this mouse plugged in for a second. Go ahead. I'll be right back.
Oh, good, man. Plug in the mouse. Yeah, man. I don't know. As a booker, I've done it the other way when we had Al Snow on the show and we had Damian Sandow, Idol Stevens show up as part of Theta Lambda Psi as Big Brother Aaron out of nowhere. And I thought I was smart as shit, and the house was 3/4 sold. And then once we did that, Danny Davis chewed our asses about we could have sold the place out and made the most money. So it's tough, because as a fan and whatnot, I think that surprise of you never know who's going to show up has a lot of value, especially in a Monday Night War scenario like this. But we'll see. I don't think it'll be Brock, maybe Punk, but man, it could be somebody for the girls though. And then if it is, it's going to be another, and no matter who it is, like Lita, yeah, she's great, but like it'll be a sad trombone kind of feeling. Like you set yourself up for wah, 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 wah.
Well, you talk about a disappointment. I just want to show people here. I know you're not a Mac user.
I used to be.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, dude.
That's
yeah.
That's a nice charging thing right there.
It could be the dumbest design.
I think it's time to bite the bullet and get the MX Master 3 or the MX Master. I can't say that. I don't want to sound offensive by saying Master, but it's the MX Master 3. I'm sure they're going to rename that mouse soon enough.
I'm going to go PC.
Yeah. Do you think, well, I tried to build one, didn't quite work. If it's Lita or if it's somebody else, what's that say? Will that also be blowback from people? And then there's nothing wrong with Lita or Trish Stratus, whoever, but it not being somebody that's going to be able to compete on the guy's side, will the fans be disappointed?
Yeah, well, they're going to put it over regardless, but it's these teaser surprises or stooging off Paul White instead of having him walk out that I think was a mistake the week before, but we're doing it again. And he said Hall of Fame worthy, so it might not be somebody from the Hall of Fame. Could be you. Could be Meanie.
It won't be me. I think our Tuesday podcast for Russo disqualifies us, and my power washing skills are not up to par.
Well, we can work on that. But if the forbidden door is open, shouldn't Russo be possible as well? Here's a sad one this morning, and we'll put it over. But Jim Crockett Jr. passes away at age 76. I had heard that he wasn't well. Fortunately, it's been announced the legendary promoter Jim Crockett Jr. passed away this week at the age of 76. Crockett's reportedly been dealing with liver and kidney failure and has been in hospice care during the past few days. Robert Gibson first posted the news on his Facebook page. And he inherited Crockett Promotions from his father back in 1977. That was a good year for me because I was born, which led him to competing against Vince McMahon through the 1980s, eventually selling to Ted Turner, which led to WCW being created. Crockett was the first promoter besides WWE to bring events to the pay-per-view model with the 1987 Bunkhouse Stampede, and then again in 1988 with Great American Bash. After a failure to launch the World Wrestling Network with Paul Heyman in 1994, Crockett opted to leave wrestling and went on to work in real estate. WWE issues the following statement: "We're saddened to learn of the passing of Jim Crockett Jr. at age 76. He was an influential promoter who helped champion the careers of WWE Hall of Famers such as Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, the Road Warriors. Crockett Jr. stewarded the family's Crockett Promotions from 77 to 89. As a part of the promotion's affiliation, Crockett Jr. was later named president of the National Wrestling Alliance in 1980. During his tenure, Jim Crockett Jr. also helped to expand the promotion's footprint and held the inaugural Crockett Senior Memorial Cup at the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans. Under Crockett Jr.'s leadership, the NWA would eventually be sold and renamed as World Championship Wrestling. WWE extends its condolences to the Crockett Jr.'s family and friends." That's a classy statement. It's weird that they would, after all the heat, they're going to mention the Road Warriors, but yeah, man, obviously a promoter that's name is written in the history books forever.
I'm very interested to see, I would be interested to see and read a documentary about what it was like to have the NWA with the committee and who they determined to be the champion, and they would do official kind of territory owners meetings like the NFL and figure out who the champion is and things like that. That was an interesting way to do business, and the territories did work together to a certain extent. So I would be interested in, I'm sure there's bits and pieces about how it worked, but I'd really like to see maybe a WWE documentary on Jim Crockett and how this all came together and what happened. And I remember the Bunkhouse Stampede and what Dusty created and with Crockett's approval was really very unique. They had a very ECW-like feel before there was an ECW. I remember turning on Channel 17 in Philadelphia, being a little kid, seeing nothing but WWE superstars or challenge or whatever as a kid. Right. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, Channel 17 cold open with like Paul Jones and his crew beating up Jimmy Valiant with no commentary or anything like that. I'm like, what is this? Like a 3/4 kind of Diablo 3 type angle from a house show.
Right.
And then they cut to it and came hot into the into Crockett and Tony Schiavone, believe it or not. Tony Schiavone way back in the day, or Bob Caudle or Johnny Weaver or these other guys just talking about it. And I just remember that, man. That stuff, it was probably the most believable sports oriented type pro wrestling TV show that I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
From even more so than ECW. I'm talking about just a sports like feel, that the realism of what, you know, people believed in with that stuff. So that's a credit to the Crockett's for putting that together.
Absolutely. I'm sure NWA will do some legacy stuff too, as they're going to tape here in about the next 3 weeks, 21st to the 24th, you know, to put all that over. Plus they'll probably have some great stuff for Josephus as well. But man, that's just kind of the closing of the chapter on that legacy of what happened there. And we're on to the next one again, you know, just the reminder of what it used to be versus what it is. What it is we talked about this. Well, did we talk about this on Raw and SmackDown? I feel like we did, but 2 WWE NXT stars dealing with legitimate injuries. 2 WWE NXT stars are battling legitimate injuries and will miss ring time as a result. Meltzer reports that Wes Lee of Must See Kids, so you know, one of the Rascals, suffered a broken hand during the men's Dusty Cup finals against grizzled young veterans at TakeOver Vengeance Day, whatever that means. This is what MSK's NXT Tag Team Championship match has been postponed till further notice. Yeah, he looks like he's got a break in his hand below his right across the back part of his hand right here, so that doesn't look too fun. And then Casey Catanzaro, it's been a tough week coming to terms with my partial LCL tear, but working with medical staff to get back as soon as I can. You can't keep me down. I mean, dude, is this what we have with 120-pound girls trying to work strong style? I know somebody else has got a PCL tear that they're working with, and they're just doing these terrible indie matches with the running kicks to the face while someone sits in the corner and dives for no reason, instead of just having some of these girls be a valet. You're 110 pounds soaking wet. There's no believability in you whipping anybody's ass. And now they're trying to take these bumps that a guy with 100 pounds of muscle mass and they have none, whose skeleton is protected and joints are a little more protected. They're just blowing them right out, bro.
And the Rascals were basically injury-free in Impact for how many years?
Yeah. I don't think they were doing a lot of get your shit in stuff too.
Yeah. The girl, I don't know. John Hartnett, and she's a Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, she won. She won Ninja Warrior. Then they said
that's pretty hard to train for with parkour and all that other stuff. And WWE is still more dangerous than that. I don't know what to say. The strong style. I watch a lot, and people have heard me say on this show and Russo's show, there's a particular NXT type of mechanical, robotic type of movement and style. Like the girls all lock up the same. They start to, whoa, you know what I mean? And they all try to work the same. They all try to do the same cadence. And most importantly, I think the injuries, and the Rascals might be a victim of this too. The over choreographed, rehearsed, you have to be in this exact spot at this exact time and do this exact thing. I told you before, that's how I got my concussion. We were doing the stunt work for this wrestling match, and I had to be exactly here, exactly there at this exact moment. Stop, rehearse, do this. It reminded me of NXT, and I can see why people get hurt. You either just do it or you don't do it. Like I cannot go to a mark. I just know I have 4 corners to work with. I'll find the camera, or the camera will find me. We'll figure it out. If it's not there, it's there, not there. If something comes up that's there that we didn't see, let's go with it. That is a lost not well, art, but I don't want to put myself. I don't want to put myself over that much. That's a lost way of thinking. Well, thinking in general is lost. You can't think anymore. Be here, do this, or else. And I think it is really like, oh my God, and break, concussion, all the above.
You can walk them through it. That doesn't mean they're learning how to work. Ken Sorrell's got a good one from last night. The ambulance spot was so unrealistic. It made Tony Schiavone look stupid. I don't know if you caught this in highlights, but they do the Shaq thing. Shaq goes through the table, and then they stretcher him out, but they don't show it. They just show Big Shaq in the fucking ambulance, giant size 22 fucking shoes. Shaq attacked, and then Schiavone's doing whatever, and they go to pitch back to the ambulance. The ambulance is there, completely empty, and they're like, "Well, Shaq was in there. I don't know, where is he? Where did he go?" Like Shaq's,
like
they
some
don't
Undertaker shit.
Yeah, but I don't think it was supposed to be that. I think they were going to cut back, and they just Shaq got up and left the ambulance, and they didn't know the cutback was coming. Man, it was fucking bad, dude.
Well, they make Tony Schiavone look stupid every week in those Tony Khan promos too, wearing a shark hat and shark glasses. Of course, he's destroyed my childhood, so he's getting what he deserves.
That's right. Let's see. Charlotte Flair, might have heard of her. She reveals she pitched a storyline with Andrade, Stevie. Shocker.
Creative.
Yeah. Charlotte has revealed that she pitched a potential real storyline with her real life boyfriend, Andrade. Flair and Andrade are a couple in real life, and WWE has brought in couples on screen throughout history, whether it be Edge and Lita, Triple H and Stephanie, or more recently Becky and Seth. During an interview with TV Insider, she said, I've actually pitched that. I would be very much open to that. I've done a lot in my career, but nobody has seen me in an on-camera relationship or in that light. I come across as cold on TV. Well, as opposed to how do you want to come across, lovey-dovey and fucking whatever, making out with a luchador? Like, and you know, crossover with AEW in that because he's in the family last night, because that story doesn't mean shit to me, and there's no teeth in anything with her and Andrade, and it's stupid. But her sister, right, is married to Conrad. Or engaged, or was, or is married? Okay, dude, they did a Q&A last night, which was another botch. They had the first kid get up there and ask a question, and the mic wasn't even on, so that was fucking cute. And then Bischoff asked one as well, further proving that he's on the TNT payroll, and shows up out of nowhere. But then Conrad gets up there and does the JR's barbecue thing, dude. And Conrad's always been a heavy dude, obviously obese, but dude, last night, it just looks like that we're on the borderline of something really, really bad happening. And I almost
like 600-pound life TLC bad,
like that bad, bro. Like he's pushing 5, probably above 4, pushing 5. I just was going to reach out maybe with the Stevie Richards Fitness PDFs or what have you, like we do business with him and we're in competition with him, and there's whatever that he wants to do on his side. But dude, we can't sit in the cut and be like, not have a solution and not offer it. That's just not us,
Well, even though like Conrad may feel whatever way he feels about me or Russo or any of us associated with Russo, the offer is always out there for him. It was out there for Bruce or anybody else that wants me to help them. I'm not a complete expert, but I can pull you along as long as you do the work, I can put you, in the right direction and help you make smarter choices. And of course, the workouts are pretty much no impact, and you can do them at your level or whatever scale you want to do them on. There's only more than one wrestler in this world can help you get into shape. It's not just cornered by one person. So, but Conrad, maybe his whatever feelings or even being kind of a mark, might not think of a big enough star to know about health and fitness and nutrition. Not saying that's what he's thinking, but I've come across that before.
Yeah.
The value is anything. It's determined by where your spot on the card is. Mm-hmm. So, but he's got a father-in-law I'd say what you want about Flair. He was a cardio machine. He worked out. He knew what to do. And he was a heavy guy that lost a ton of weight. So that's a guy who could help you too.
Yep. And he's just at that point where, though, you can see the metabolism shut down fully, and he's just got to be feeling it in a lot of different ways, emotionally and physically now. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I usually don't mention his name. You know, I try not to put it out there, and I'm not trying to down the guy for being out of shape, but I know what that feeling is like, and I've seen a lot of other guys go through that, and I just saw last night, I was like, oof, poor guy.
Maybe the fact that he got made fun of live on TV will be the motivation that he needs.
Yeah, calling him turkey tits, that'll be good. That'll be getting him out there.
Maybe not, or he popped for it, and then it's whatever.
Mm-hmm. Carlito, he's definitely in shape. He reveals that the Hurt Business had been throwing his name around backstage. Former Intercontinental Champion was one of the surprise competitors of the Rumble and competed in a tag team match along Jeff Hardy. MVP helped get that ball rolling. He said, speaking with Wrestle Stink, a couple of the boys have been talking backstage, like MVP, Shelton Benjamin, Lashley, and the Hurt Biz, guys who've always been throwing my name around in the back. So I think they're the ones that got the ball rolling, and Mark Carano ended up calling me and asking me if I wanted to be in the Rumble. It was a good 2 days, but they're throwing his name around to be in the Hurt Business. I think that's a mistake. Like, that's just buddies wanting to work with buddies. But if you got 4 black guys who are fucking awesome athletes whose whole id when they started was being marginalized because of the color of their skin when they're the top dogs in reality, and we finally get there with Lashley, you don't bring Carly, you don't bring the Puerto Rican guy in, dude. Like, I just don't understand why he would even want to do that. You know what I mean? And granted, he'll do whatever and told to be on camera because he's a worker's worker, but dude, you don't just cross streams like that. Like, I'm not trying to say whatever about race or what have you, but the clique is formed. You don't do it just because they're boys and make it a certain way. That will instantly water everything down.
Well, let's bring up a different point. Why does Carlito need people to go to bat for him? Why does he need to get the ball rolling? Why does it take so long that you saw him at the Rumble, you saw him the next night, talk to the guy? This is that there was a game played, and this is the locker room, so I can say it, I don't care. There was a game played quite a while, and every year at the Rumble, there's that little game that's played with me here and there, little, oh, well, you know, you staying in shape and all this bullshit. But Glenn Kane had texted me, not even called me, and said, hey, Mark Carano wants you to call him. This is maybe 2 years ago, something like that. Okay. Give him a call, leave him a voicemail. Might be a little more than 2 years ago. And then basically left him a voicemail. So in my mind, I'm already like, shouldn't even have sold for it. Mark Carano talks to Glenn and tells me to call him again, which I'm like, fuck you, dude. Fuck that. Then that's kind of the game I think they're playing with Carlito and everybody else. Oh, Carlito, we'll talk to MVP. MVP will talk to Carlito. Carlito will try to contact Carano. Carano will tell Shelton to tell stop. Please fight. Your business is dying. Right. You have no time for this bullshit. Stop it. Please.
Where does Ace figure into that equation?
Johnny Ace?
Yeah.
I don't think he's figured in at all. I don't know what his spot is right now.
Yeah. To corral the Bellas.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Johnny was always good to me and always found work for him, whether we're going to developmental, doing other things, working house shows to get people ready. I'm not saying he would want the bat for me, but he, as talent relations, he found spots for me. Dreamer and I always had something to do when Johnny was head of talent relations. Now, did he handle everybody great? Did he handle our money? Like, did he give us the deals that we could have gotten? Probably not, but something's better than zero when you're at that particular point. Your entire career is basically has no credibility because you're doing jobs each and every week. So
the new Velvet Sky and Angelina Love, Beautiful People shoot cover a lot of Johnny Ace coming up this Sunday or Monday on patreon.com/thebeautifulpeople. So there'll be plenty of that going down. But yeah, man, why does he have to go through all of that bullshit? Like coming off of Netflix to show that he's humble, to be like, he's not over, but he looks great and he's undeniable. And then he can't sell that. And just like, you're not going to do the Apple spot. And that's a test to go, why wouldn't I? That's my gimmick. Instead of going, okay. And, you know, all these dumbass little things that you got to go through the fucking lower level just to do what? Maybe get a producer's job. It's just crazy, man. And that's why I'm charging $750,000 and won't take anything but the top spot. Bobby Lashley on what Vince McMahon said to him following winning the WWE Championship. Lashley accomplished the biggest feat of his career by winning WWE Championship in the main event of last week's Raw. Lashley has issued a statement on social media on his title victory, and he spoke more on what winning WWE Championship means to him in a recent interview with Ryan Stain for Fox Sports. That's funny. They call him Ryan Stain instead of Satin and misspelled it.
Did they misspell it, though?
Yeah, he is a stain on the business. The one thing that's most important, quote, that anything for me is more than the money, it's the legacy. Oof. I was not me. I was able to etch my name into history of professional wrestling that only a few people can say that they actually have. Then when you look at the lineage of people who had that title, to put my name amongst those guys, I can't even articulate what it means to me.
This is Lashley?
Yes. This is huge because being the WWE champion, they expect a lot out of you. You got to carry the show. You got a lot of things to go through. You got to put on some of the best matches. You got to do things that a lot of other guys aren't doing. Before I came back on this last run, I told them I want all of that because that's what I came back for. I'm coming back for that WWE championship, and I'm not stopping until I get it. Then when I do get it, I'm ready to build a legacy. I want Bobby Lashley's time, the almighty Lashley's time, with that title to mean something and to mean something big. That's what I want to make happen. Lashley then recalled Booker T's belief in him. He also recalled the things he was taught by Vince McMahon, and revealed what Vince McMahon said to him after he won the WWE title. He said, sorry, there's 3 more paragraphs. Booker came on and said at one time on one of the pre-shows, he's like, man, you should be main eventing. I don't know what you're doing right now, but I don't know why we don't have Bobby Lashley main eventing WrestleMania. To me, that meant the world because I have so much respect for Booker. I have so much respect for a lot of the guys I came up and first worked with, like JBL and Booker. But some of those guys, so I've been hearing some of them really good word from some of those guys, and those guys have really resonated in me and let me realize to stop just having fun. Quote, you're not going to have fun. Vince doesn't want you here to have fun. Vince wants you to get in an argument with you because you're fighting for something that you want. Vince wants you to step out of the box and do something bigger. Vince wants you at WrestleMania so much that the crowd forces them to give you that title. And I think I started to get to that point last year, several months, definitely. I mean, man, I've been mean. I go out there with a vengeance. There's a whole lot of confidence running through me. He said, when I was able to go through that curtain after winning the WWE Championship and give Vince a hug, he grabbed me and held me and for a while. And I was like, man, I'm proud of you.
Ooh. Where's this interview?
It was with,
who's it with?
That's on Wrestle Inc. What I just read. Let me see. Bring it back up.
I'm assuming like Sports Illustrated or something. Hopefully some sports one and not just.
It was to Ryan Stain on Fox Sports.
Oh. I'll tell you what, knowing what I know now, what Vince would really respect even more than coming through that gorilla or through the curtain to the gorilla position and hugging Vince and Vince telling him proud of him. When Vince goes in for the hug, he pushes him away. He goes, "No, you took fucking long enough. You didn't do it during Black History Month, so fuck you." Throw the belt at him. Right?
Real shit. Yeah, that's a lot more than
like, God damn.
Yeah, you want controversy and whatever. Like there it is, right there. Our own John Hartnett, American Top Team, Colby Covington's guru, and a guy who's had his ass kicked by Bobby Lashley many times on the Impact in one of the best feuds down there when they were showing up with American Top Team and on the same squad. good stuff, man, from Hartnett there. So he knows real close, and he's happy to see him win it too. I am too. Bobby was always cool to me in every interaction we had, whether it was OVW or an Impact, doing our thing, man. But
how many years and tens of millions of dollars they lost by not doing it right out of Impact,
right?
And just saying we're going to bury him because he's from Impact. And now here you are doing the same exact thing now that they had him doing at Impact.
Mm-hmm.
You're just, somebody said it in the comments, petty, just petty.
Yep. And still, he's got to be like, how about the legacy versus the money, Stevie? I mean, he might just be doing that to work, you know what I mean? And Satin's a fucking goof anyway, but, that to me, I don't know, not like I'm ever going to be WWE champ anyway, but like, is that like every real worker would be like, what? You're marking for the fucking belt and legacy as opposed
Hart did that. He was the $300,000 champion. That's what Kevin Nash and the guys called him. Here's what I would have done too. I would have thrown a belt at him if I was at this point of Lashley. Mm-hmm. And I would have bent over and showed him my ass and I go, remember you made me do this fucking shit? Yeah. And then just walked away.
Tweedledee.
Mm-hmm. And then like use the girl as an obstacle course and run away.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the kind of stuff like, what is he going to do there? He's going to take the belt off you. If you legitimately said it's about goddamn time and this motherfucker wouldn't put the belt on me during Black History Month, little too late.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to tell the truth about this and take this company where it needs to be. They take the belt off you the next week, class action lawsuit. Racial discrimination lawsuit.
Why not, man? But
I'm just saying that's one way to go because these guys aren't, like you said, what's going to kick them out of this really shitty thinking that they don't do right by the talent? What's going to do it except fear, as you say, most times?
Yeah, pretty much, dude.
Fear and take their money. Fear and taking money.
Yeah. Well, somebody who's on his way out of what he thought he was coming back to the ring in the New Japan podcast, Super J podcast, first reporting Marty Scurll will not be appearing at NJPW Strong or any New Japan shows in the near future, based on the speaking out movement and whatnot. And he was laying low, whatever the accusations were, and not really nearly of what we've seen of other people, but he's caught up in the storm here. And then there was this charity show that Joey Ryan was booked on, along with AEW stars, Khan and Cancel Culture, hit up Khan. He pulled all the AEW people. The show's been shut down, so F that charity, I guess. And in the wake of that, I think that Scurll got pulled from New Japan when that was his move to kind of try and get back in. So right now looks like he's not headed to Japan for whatever that big pay-per-view was going to be, man. So that's as much as I'm going to say on it because I have, personal connections to it that I don't want to upset anybody too much, but gotta report the news. But here's cancel culture. Just when you think it's starting to die down in society, boom, we're getting hit with a whole nother wave of it. Especially, we talked about it last night, Mr. Potato Head and fucking Dr. Seuss and Curious George is going to become By Curious George or whatever. But
really.
No, they're getting rid of. They're trying to ban Curious George because of a white man adopting a black African monkey and raising him.
Or are they getting rid of the fact that you shouldn't be curious about anything? Don't do any research. Just do what you're told.
It's more of they're just saying that the monkey represents this and the white man is the man in the yellow hat. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely. Any kid 6 years old, I don't care what color you are, they're not taking away race from that. They're taking away moral and don't be a bad boy. And this is what you have to do to go along. It's just like,
It's just, I think that it has a dual purpose. I think the Mr. Potato Head too just confuses children into not wanting to do anything to custom. You know what I mean? It's a creative thing too. The Mr. Potato Head is to create your own Mr. Potato Head of what you want it to be, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just telling people also to stay within certain lines and boxes. There's not going to be anybody, and I dare I say it's the learning's not going to be the same, the development, and this goes across to creative with wrestling, which is a small part of it. But what about if you want to really create a cure for something, or a vaccine, or a medical breakthrough, or a scientific breakthrough? I mean, it's all, you can't even use math because math is racist. You can't even use math to go to space. So aeronautics, and space travel has to be put on hold. Because if math is racist, what do you think calculus is?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I hated calculus. That triggered me big time. Yeah, man. Where we're going with all this stuff, cancel culture wise, is absolutely ridiculous.
Somebody asked an interesting question, not to cut you off. The guy from Israel, he remembers when I said I was told Vince I wanted to do more. I was punished. So anyone thinks that Lashley will get better treatment if he will fight? Yes, because I'm objective enough to know that Lashley is a much bigger star than I was, in a better spot, and he's the champion. He has more of a chance of things being changed. And of course, there probably is a little bit where they're like, okay, we're doing some shit here and we've done it to him. He has enough of a case. This could be a lawsuit.
And the affirmative action stuff, Lashley has that card to play.
He's not that kind of guy.
No,
I know about Bobby, but I'm just saying.
But in 2021, that's the unspoken power that he has. Not that he needs it, because he's a fucking war horse, and look at him, you know what I mean?
And a military veteran and a hero and all that shit.
But if you want to fucking play that card, we can play that card too, and that's a nice little reparation when it's come time to contract renewal.
So I'm letting you know right now, and I you know what I mean, I do it a lot. I knew my place in the business. I know my place where I can be now. So that's the difference. I'm not selling myself short. This is perception is reality. This is my spot on the card. I know the kind of worker that I was and still am, psychologically, maybe physically in some ways. Might take a little bit to recover, the concussion, all that stuff. Things happen. But at the same time, I understand that. But that also pushes me now that the success and failures, much like you've been, Sal, Papadon, Lord Jamar, all of these different independent businessmen, it succeeds or fail on our own merits or laziness. So therefore, we work as hard as we can. That's the beauty of coming from pro wrestling, where it is fake and subjective, handcuffed. There is a glass ceiling to some extent if the machine doesn't want you to succeed or make money. But then it gives you every opportunity and motivation to create something on your own, because you remember what it was like to count on somebody else to feed your family. So it's definitely, out of a negative comes a very good positive.
Absolutely. It just sucks that Lashley has to go through all these hazing rituals as the return from Impact, when they could have right out of the gate brought in American Top Team, could have had him in the underground and made something of it, instead of just coming in and whipping everybody's ass, and then Raw Underground's dead in the water, which I'm sure Hartnett was happy with too. Shout out Johnny Boy. Cody Rhodes says Pat McAfee is trying to get a job at AEW like every other day. AEW president Cody Rhodes says NXT celebrity superstar Pat McAfee has been trying to get a job with the competition. Rhodes hosted a media call earlier today to promote tonight's Dynamite show, where he will team with Red Velvet and Shaq. We already know that. He's working with Stephen Amell. Stevie, you might have heard about that. He says, quote, I think I didn't see this particular comment, especially from Pat, which is super bizarre. Just bizarre because I'm pretty sure Pat's trying to get a job at AEW like every other day, but that's another conversation. Cody continued and said he liked that Shaq made that comment, and also talked about celebrity wrestling match should be. stooging off here as shots fired that McAfee's reaching out. And then there were two guys from Barstool Sports on the show last night in that Q&A thing. And the one of them was on NXT and got big leagued by Eli Drake or whatever. And now that dude's on AEW, dude, I bet game is hot right here. Game has got to be hot. Like, they try to do business and put McAfee with the tag team after he stole the show with Cole. And then they just took him off TV out of nowhere. No Oni Lorcan or his tag partner anymore. And Pat's smart. He's going to go, oh, you don't want me on there? Then I'll show up in Monday Night War over here. But then Cody stooges it off of like, he's just trying to get himself over to get over here and get a job. Like, dude, why do these things happen like that, man?
Well, because wrestling needs to understand something. Not everybody needs you. And Pat McAfee is the poster child for making his own money. We told the story on Russo about how when he got, I think it was the FanDuel thing, that when they went to they had the FanDuel sponsorship, and of course have blown up since then too. There's video of him going to different people's houses in his crew and giving them a backpack full of money for thanking them for being with him from the very beginning. I've said it before on this show. Pat McAfee, you are wasting your time with pro wrestling. You are the next. I believe Pat McAfee will eventually be a commentator on Monday Night Football, if not some major thing, because he adds an element of entertainment. He's very disarming. He interviews people very well.
Late night talk show host, if you wanted to, on prime time.
He could be, but I think within the foot. I mean, Tony Romo gets $18 to $20 million a year to commentate for CBS. That's Pat McAfee's future. Okay. And doing exactly what he's doing in his wheelhouse that he likes while being entertaining. He doesn't have to be a comedian all the time or an interviewer all the time, much like he tries to do other people like the Kimmels and I think that's dead anyway, that late night talk show stuff. I think the future in bread and circuses is obviously sports is never really going to go away. But pro wrestling, he was going to quit at WrestleMania just because Michael Cole threw him under the bus. He does it whenever he feels like doing it. I have no doubt in my mind that Hunter was trying to make him do a regular thing and try to make him a regular worker and nothing special. And McAfee saw, I'll just be another guy after that. If I'm just wrestling, I'll do it once in a while. Plus I'm making millions of dollars doing this. And I have a potential commentary or a radio gig or a Sirius XM show or whatever it might be. Dude, this guy's future is so far beyond pro wrestling. We've tried to, like, I'm a huge football fan. I would love to get or we tried to get Russo because Pat McAfee started following him on Twitter. We're trying to get the rub off of McAfee. We realize he's a bigger star.
Absolutely.
Wrestling should realize, and Cody, you're better off saying we want Pat McAfee, not trying to throw him under the bus and corner him, because he doesn't need you either. He doesn't need AEW. He doesn't need any of that bullshit. He's perfectly fine.
He's trying to politic to make an exciting Monday Night Wars moment, and Cody is stooging it off in the media scrum going, and he's just trying to get a job with us every day, like writing off any indie wrestler instead of having him show up and do some crazy shit. If anything, on the heels of this Shaq thing, that's where McAfee should have run in and done something. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you want direct pipeline to Aaron Rodgers and all these fucking guys instead of being like, but that's a story for another day. He's just trying to get a job with us.
I would have, and in all sincerity, I really do. And both of us are inspired and motivated and look up to what Pat McAfee has done and continues to do. Cody should have kissed his ass beyond kissing his ass, because it's all the truth anyway. He's like, hey, Cody could have been but Cody's Cody and everybody's in their echo chamber of EVPs. I'll say it right now and you'll say it too. We wish we had the opportunity to see how Pat McAfee has branded himself and the blueprint for how he got at least to where halfway to where he is now, and we will take that and follow it to a T. If Cody had said that, this guy is amazing. Look at what he's done. I wish I could brand myself half as good as Pat McAfee. You don't think Pat McAfee would be like, wow, that was super cool?
Mm-hmm.
And then reach
and
out
have him on his show and give Cody that exposure. Like it's just little throwaway things like that. I'm like, wow, how are we missing on this type of stuff, man? Every single time.
These are baby faces too, by the way. Cody's a baby face talking like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
man.
when you start feeling yourself a little bit too much, that's when it starts back down.
That's it, dude. And I don't think they were feeling themselves too much this week. I liked the show, but Impact garners the worst audience for a first run show in months. Tuesday night's edition of Impact featuring Knockouts champ Deonna Purrazzo in a tag match with Kiera Hogan and Triple Grace, Jordan Grace, in a triple threat main event. Drew 134,000 viewers on Access TV. Showbuzz Daily it said drew 0.03 rating in the key 18 to 49. These numbers are down from last week's episode, which drew 170,000. So that's a big drop for them, dude. 21.18% from last week. That can't. Oh, and even in here, Curse of Oak Island on History Channel topped the night in the cable top 150 with a 0.52 rating in the 18 to 49 demo, drawing 2.897 million viewers. Tucky Carlson on Fox News topped the night in viewership with 3.45 million viewers, ranking number 8. So Stevie, digging in a hole in the ground, did 28 times what Impact did.
I visited Oak Island recently. Didn't know if you knew that.
I didn't.
Look what I found from the Templars.
Oh, nice. This
is ancient hieroglyphics on the button here.
Is that
I think that means slot receiver. This is tight end.
Well,
it was really good. It took me 59 minutes to show people that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so basically almost 3 times the ratings of Young Rock, which, by the way, ratings don't matter, according to the Objective Variety article, which the Young Rock show didn't pay for.
Not at all.
So Tuesdays are going to look real rough for Impact. They got to move the night. When NXT goes to Tuesdays, it's going to be bad.
Yep.
You're going to be lucky to get 30,000 people, maybe.
Exactly. I believe their number could be below what Hamin Media's weekly download is.
Well, just to let you know, just to give you a comparison, talking about McAfee, he usually has 135 to 150, maybe sometimes 200,000 people watching during the day. Like at noon when he goes live, people are watching it. Steven Crowder did a thing about calling up the voter registration place in Nevada because there's a bunch of addresses that are inaccurate. So to his credit, he questioned them over the phone. 90,000 people watching. That's 10 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Impact is on at night, supposedly primetime hours on a Tuesday, drawing less than McAfee during work hours. They need to figure it out. I mean, what night would you think would be best for them? Do you think they go to Wednesday nights because there's nothing going on? Oh, no, that's AEW.
AEW.
Well, wait a minute. What if they're the lead-in for AEW? Or the AEW is the lead-in for them?
But the dudes, the storyline and talent is better in Impact than it is on AEW, and I don't think they'd risk that. Even though Khan is right in there, I think he's just going to buy him out. How long can Anthem hold on to this? You know what I mean? Losing, and paying the guys on the roster, no crowds, no pay-per-view buy rates, nothing along those lines, dude. We've seen Impact be that's it for them, and then they crawl out and brush themselves off and keep going forward. But this could be it for them, especially with the NXT shot, because the Art of War, that's an alliance between AEW and them, and you can go in and kill one of the allies. That's the move, especially if you're using the weapon where people think it's a third brand, but it's just a wrestling school and you can use it to weaponize it that way.
Yeah. lead-ins are very important. That's why SmackDown drew that number with the lead-in from the NFL. You're not going to get that kind of viewership, but still, and if Khan is going to buy them, he can still keep them as TNA Impact as the lead-in or the afterwards. Because, dude, if he buys them and he has another hour, how many hours? I saw AEW Dark. It was 2 hours of constant matches. I mean, I fast forward through most of them, but I'm like, wow, this is the school show now. This is Cody's school, and his students are getting matches on Dark. You gotta bring your power washing skills up the par, man. Those two girls in the tag match, they must be freaking power washers.
Yeah,
that better than Justin French, man.
Oh, you could eat off that fucking driveway.
I was gonna say, what kind of pressure washing is Justin French do? I haven't seen him on AEW.
No, not yet. But we'll see how he does it. I mean, you got to make sure your dues are paid as well.
Do you want to tell the joke? I mean, it's such an inside thing that Russo started. There's guys that have come from different places around the country, and guys with experience that are making money within the business, and they come in and they're supposedly paying dues by pressure washing the Performance Center, DDP Yoga Performance Center in Smyrna, where they edit and do all where the Shaq got the word thrown on them. That's all done at Page's studio, where the yoga was. That they have to do these things and jump through these hoops when these guys are actually had a hell of a business model on their own, or they had a brand or a gimmick. I feel bad for them because they're not. It's not going to have that for one dark match, which hasn't happened for these guys yet, as far as I know.
And they're paying really double what wrestling dues are for a year, even with inflation, to get that. Like, they're getting worked for that. Workers are getting worked for double. Guys who are already on the road and on the indies are now back to wrestling.
Guys that have been on TV.
Pressure washing, and to possibly get the opportunity in 3 months to get a dark match on AEW Dark. That's what's going on down there right now. And people have no idea. And that's why, I mean, not that Jade Cargill isn't a property, but how about the kid who lost 29-0 and he's proud to be in the Nightmare family and wins the first night, and like that, all of those students, anybody with that brand in there, is not that they're not getting an education from QT, Cody and Dustin and Arn possibly, and Brandy, wrestling education, but there are people there who already knew it, and now they're being worked in order to get worked, and they know it, and they're openly doing it and living in a split mind control type of way, man. It's
and
crazy.
When Russo or myself or anybody tries to attempt to smarten them up in any way, not say like, yeah, do what you got to do, but remember, you have other things you need to worry about, and it's a cult. It's like a cult, man. It's really unbelievable. You still pay the 45. Wait, you still pay. You got to power wash with the 4,500 too.
Yeah, that's the 4,500 is a deposit on the privilege to power wash, to show that you'll do whatever you want to do, to then get to go job out to Peter Avalon on Dark. Oh shit. WWE Hall of Famer and others praise Shaq for going through a table on AEW Dynamite. Looks like Foley popped for it. Huge props to Shaq for taking the big bump. Cody even tweets, hope Shaq is okay. Absolute respect. What? DDP tweets, good God. Pat McAfee, Shaq killed it. So he's, doing his thing. Shaq got thrown through a table, says NBA on TNT. I was hoping there would be a good rib from Barkley in there, but nothing yet. So I'm looking.
Fat ass one through a table. That was terrible.
Oh, hey man.
Man,
that wasn't too bad.
Dude, I got to give it to Shaq though.
Yeah, except for his chops. Like, I wanted him to lay it in there. He's holding his hand up. Like, lay that fucking shit in, Shaq. You got your time to slap some and chop some meat there. You got to fucking lay it in on Cody, because one real Shaq chop, Cody could have sold that and been on his knees doing the Ric Flair super pain cell. You know what I mean? It would have been believable, but instead it was just, but that table bump was dope.
Well, you made a point, I think. When did you send it in chat or something like that. I saw it. He took a power bomb, which looked really good. Cody did.
Mhm.
And then he just punched him in the face or poked him in the eye and got up. There was some mistakes. That tag match too, dude. The one girl, and she had to be a Nightmare Family girl, I guess. The girl with the red velvet. Dude, she reverses the figure four and looks at the camera.
Yeah,
she dives on everybody, which nobody caught her. She landed on her feet, thank God, and looks at the camera. But during the reversal, she's breaking that fourth wall at least 3 or 4 times during the clip I saw. I'm like, why is she looking in the camera?
And this is Jade Cargill's first match on TV there too, and like she hits the finish, no idea where ring positioning, has to turn around to look at the camera during the pin, and they have to cut to the other side floor cam instead of staying on hard cam. Maybe fans don't notice this shit, but any wrestler who's ever even remotely been in this business for 2 to 5 years, who's worked for camera, TV, or trained the right way, I'm just seeing these things. And sure, you could shoot Jade Cargill in the stomach with a 12 gauge and the bullet would bounce off her abs. That's how strong. And she's a grade A property of a talent to have. But again, it says all elite wrestling on the wall. And dude, these are just like indie first year people that are getting these shots, you know, no matter how good they look or what have you. It doesn't matter when you've got just the basics and fun. It looks like they're out there playing wrestling. It's the dudes who put on, you know, Walmart wrestling spots and they think they're funny in front of their boys. That's what's in the ring now.
I'm interested to see, and I'm just saying, like, all right, well, okay, there we go. I'm interested to see, like, I'm looking at the Nightmare Factory website because I want to see if they're featuring these people that are on the show. But all I have right here, and I don't know if this is the only site, it's Nightmare Factory GA for Georgia.com. It says, it's just black. It has Nightmare Factory with Cody's neck tattoo. Do the work, now accepting deposit for April and summer 2021. Apply now, meet the team. And there's 4 pictures, and that's it. There's no testimonials or these guys are on. If you click on them,
that's bad.
If you click on them, there's no clicking for any. It just says Cody Rhodes, 15-year pro, executive vice president of All Elite Wrestling, drug-free athlete. Get your reaction to that.
Drug-free athlete.
That's what it says.
Never seen him do illicit drugs. I don't think I ever smizzed with Cody, but you know, what's your definition of drugs? Is your definition of drugs involve putting 18 pounds of muscle mass on in 3 weeks and then blowing your shoulder out because of it? Maybe. What was more choreographed, that Shaq match or the Damian Priest entrance?
Well, I'll tell you what looked more choreographed, the Damian Priest entrance. Everybody loves your Rockettes style recap or reenactment of it.
I haven't seen anybody put it over. That's why I was wondering about it. I didn't. Yeah.
Hey, listen, the Shaq thing, WWE, once again, let's pile on the stack on top of the Lashley delay with the Shaq one, which they've been waiting to pull the trigger on that even longer. Look at what you missed. Shaq didn't have a lot of time to train. I'm sure he's just a natural athlete. He knows what he's doing. He didn't even train as hard as I dare say as hard as he could have to do it. And if he continues, I'm sure he'll get in better shape. But look at what you could have had with Big Show and Shaq at WrestleMania.
Would have had it. Didn't do shit with it last night. Missed it. Opportunity missed.
They and for them not to watch that show or know about that show and say, we can never let this happen again. I'm sure they don't. Oh, they're dumb. Shaq's over the hill. Shaq's this. Shaq's once again a bigger star. He's a even bigger star than Pat McAfee. The NBA TNT halftime show has higher ratings than the basketball game. So don't tell me. And he gets millions upon millions of dollars for, you know, endorsements. People listen to him. He's a Madison Avenue. Is that what you say? A Madison Avenue type of draw.
Yeah.
Or Nancy Browns will buy if Shaq tells them to buy.
I was looking for some 33rd Degree Mason Prince Hall stuff yesterday too, but I didn't see it in there. But I doubt Khan booked that into it, in his second grade.
I was waiting for the Khashoggi to come out for the finish.
We'll see if he makes a run in. Yeah, man.
I got to tell my Shaq story again. He owned the 24-hour fitness in Parkland, Coral Springs area, and I would tweet at him that like the paper towel dispenser was out or the elliptical I like to use was out of order, and then he blocked me on Twitter years and years ago. He's the only him and PJ are the only people that blocked me on Twitter.
Oh well, you got to get with it. I got Big Show, Big Show, Shawn Michaels, CM Punk, JBL, somebody else too out of nowhere. Oh, Owens. Weird.
Hey, and Shaq to see. I mean, the best thing was that Shaq now, I think he's going to fight the Fiend because they both seem to have magical powers where they can disappear. I'm going to keep looking at that. That's great. You deserve it, Tony Schiavone, for destroying my childhood.
Oh, AEW star Chris Jericho believes that pro wrestling legends Big Show and Sting were treated not treated with too much respect during their respective WWE runs. While speaking with Digital Spy, said these guys were kind of almost insulted by their WWE runs and definitely not treated with too much respect over the last few years. We treat our legends with respect. We don't make jokes out of them, and WWE is notorious for that, whether it's Sting, Paul White, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Jake Roberts, Dustin Rhodes, throw in Chris Jericho. We know how to treat our legendary performers with respect and make them look great and make them all worthy of being in AEW. If they aren't worthy of being in AEW, why would they be there? That pops me. Yeah, man, WWE is ridiculous in the way they march out talent and use them to give guys or girls, not give them the rub the way they should. But AEW does it in a completely marked WCW 95 kind of way that is cringeworthy in itself, kind of, and what they've done with a Jake Roberts and having him do stuff I don't think is using him to his potential, having Nyla Rose bump fucking Vicky Guerrero on the outside, not smart either. And with Dustin, I don't think they've even come close to getting max value out of Dustin Rhodes to where it is. But Jericho does have a point in the way that, especially we saw Big Show get berated by Randy Orton and get no reciprocity. And then Sting has to fight fucking Legend Killer and get his ass kicked and be hurt. So, or not
what
Legend
happened with the Sting stuff last night? Did they have that match last night, or is that this Sunday?
Oh, that's this Sunday.
I don't know. See, that's the thing. It's all kind of saturated together. I thought it was on Dark.
He didn't power
The
wash.
newest Nightmare family member versus Sting.
Yeah.
This person paid $20,000 to go to school. Hey, it's a great business model. I love it.
I know.
The
John Silver says that being an extra in WWE means nothing unless you're 6'6" and jacked. John Silver has been teaming with Alex Reynolds for nearly a decade, and they performed in various promotions, Evolve, CZW, including WWE, and is now part of the Dark Order. He said a bunch of shit, but pretty much that. This goes on and on with a bunch of shit I don't want to read. But I not that I take issue with that, but that's bullshit to me. Ellsworth was an extra, and sure, he looks a certain way. Colin Delaney was an extra, and he got over, and neither of those guys are 6'6" and jacked. It's about character. It's about doing the job they want you to do and using that to get to a certain point where they might put you in something and whatnot. So I think that he has the ability to be the Marco Stunt of WWE if he wanted to be, but that's just an easy cop out. And again, the guy's got tons of charisma. He's a little jacked Popeye dude, and he can get things over, but he is one of the main, aside from Brody's passing, he is one of the main reasons why Dark Order is not over and is a rib, because it's more important to him on being the elite to go into business for himself to do funny bits instead of being part of a cult and supporting and finding out what his role is in that and creating something awesome. It was better to put on little stupid cowboy hats and do funny fucking bits. So now the Dark Order doesn't mean shit when they actually, after Brody's passing, could have been even more cult-like, but we're back to Johnny Hungy and all these fucking stupid ass things that we'll never get over. And he's just going to be half rib. But I disagree with the statement that extras can't get over in WWE and get a contract, because they can. And especially the ones who have are usually guys who are small and whatnot, to be honest with you.
A spot is a spot, and if you're not there, and if you think there's you got a 50-50 shot every time you go there of doing something, you know, so you take what you can, and it's mostly how you conduct yourself backstage too that really does matter. You're going to get tested in certain ways, and especially as an extra. With John Silver, this was the interesting thing when I was thinking about the Dark Order stuff after Brody passed. They really could have had hero cult-like worship to him as a figure who's not there anymore. They do that with a lot of cult leaders. They could have went so many different ways and said, there could even been like, I'm getting a message from Cody and someone else is saying that there's a power strike. There could have been so many cool things to keep his name alive within that. And they just kind of split it off. Kid comes out, kid goes on commentary on Dark. That's all we're going to do.
Yep. And
they really, really could have still made money off of the Brody name and got the Dark Order over, because now you have a celestial type of cult leader that's not even there.
Yeah, a legend, a true legend. That word gets thrown around, but the legend of Brody and them carrying it on is enough for people to be endeared to them while they do weird, creepy heel shit, but instead keep doing fart jokes and saying fuck and being half drunk on camera, if that's what you want to do, and down the others. And so I'm not here to go to bat for WWE by any means, but that just ain't the way it is.
Why do they continue to do that show and show that side of themselves, which doesn't ever connect the business anyway? But they do assume you watch that when they bring the angles on TV, right?
Right. That there's been so many times on, and thankful for MSG and Sylvia, where they'll be like, then they're doing this, but well, why? They're at chapter 6 in the story when it gets to TV, and we're supposed to know about chapters 1 through 5 from Being the Elite and AEW Dark, where they started on these stupid little inside jokes that nobody followed, nobody did whatever, and they don't even do a recap. Instead, we've got a 16-minute match that means nothing when we could have had a 14-minute match that meant nothing, and 2 minutes of recap to set up the storyline. No, you just got to know from you don't watch Dark or Being the Elite? Come on, what the fuck? And it's all just trash 90% of the time. Throwaway wrestlers thinking that they're doing improvisation and funny sketch work. And it's anybody from truly who does sketch work and watches it goes, ugh. But they're over, because they got jobs. They know what's up. They're good with the power wash. Our final story today, Stevie, are you ready?
Is it a Bella's story?
Close, but not. Kayla Braxton reveals she is bisexual, and WWE Hall of Famer responds. Kayla Braxton, a backstage interview for WWE on SmackDown and host of Talking Smack, has revealed that she's bisexual. Through a tweet on Wednesday night, Kayla said that she is over having to choose, quote unquote, not just her ethnicity, but also her sexual orientation. Kayla tweeted, "My whole life I've had to choose. Are you black? Are you white? Which bubble do you fill in on the SATs? I always filled in other because nothing applied to me. Tonight, I choose to be over having to choose. Hello, world. I'm Kayla, and oh yeah, I'm bi." End quote. WWF Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix responded, sent her a virtual hug. Lance Storm said, "You be you and be happy." Shortly after that, Kayla Braxton deleted her Twitter account. You are tired of having to choose. You want to be proud of whatever you are with a, dual or multiple heritage, and you're putting out the big statement, and you want to come out of the closet, and you're proud about it, and then you delete your Twitter account, then makes it look like you're embarrassed and doesn't go to bat for whatever LGBTQ community that you've been in the closet for, because you don't want to deal with any of the blowback. I mean, sexuality or, choices aside or race aside, we're a 90s kid, and hot chicks claiming they're bisexual is very sexy, and let's go that way. But instead, now it's I've regressed and I'm hiding by, and it might not be any of those things, but when you do that and then you make that move, I mean, these are children. Once again, man, children.
Well, here's my question about it. What prompted it, and what are you going to do? Well, you told me what she did, but what I'm saying, what are you going to do to be that voice? Like, you're going to have to take up, obviously, people disagreeing with that or people judging you for that. But also the bigger picture, like you said, is if you're going to do that, you have a platform with WWE and interviewing. And you also have to be careful because Vince sees that as Carney P.T. Barnum. Let's do an angle out of it, which could be the worst thing ever.
Let's do a reenactment of the Page video. But this time,
bringing a hot lesbian action with Bischoff again. That's all. That old man sees.
It'll be, instead of Woods and the ref, Beef Wellington, it'll be Paige, it'll be Kayla, Sonya Deville, and Liv Morgan in a 3-way sex tape leak.
Well, that's what you're saying will really happen?
No, that's what I'm fantasizing in my own mind.
Oh, just checking. What I'm saying is, like, what is the this is what I mean about these kids or anybody on social media that has this maybe inflated sense of self-importance, which I'm not saying she has that, but what is the need? And my guess is too, and it's just a guess because I've seen it happen. She tweeted that before she even told her family.
That's how she told her family, maybe, who knows?
But that's the disease of social media. Now, if you're going to do that, here's the call to action, at least in my opinion, and I think you would agree. I'm here for anybody that has the same fears that I had before today, or the same whatever. I want to be a voice, and I want to be a person to help support the community that supports this lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that kind of the play?
That's for you to become a star and bring in that LGBTQ fucking marketing, everything from, and especially on when
Stephanie McMahon and her should have been on TV together or on somewhere together talking about this.
Way easier to digest too when you've got hot Kayla Braxton, hot Liv Morgan, Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose. All 4 of them, 3 out of 4 claim to be bisexual. The other one straight up lesbian. That's a lot easier for the world to digest, thinking about all them scissoring together instead of Lars Sullivan being leaked of doing gay porn and screaming into the camera, right? Like some weird jailhouse rape shit going on. Like, that was and Darren Young would have been great as well during that time. But
what's that guy thinking now? Like, he could have been, that kind of just fizzled out to where it never got acknowledged.
Right.
Here's the thing. Someone said, Frank in the chat said, who cares? And that's what it is. Not in a mean way, but it's your business. And who cares? If you want to put it out, that's cool, but who cares? And
nobody cares about the whatever you want to do in your bedroom. You know who cares? Vince and Stephanie McMahon. You know why? Because the fucking LGBTQ thing is a marketing ploy now. Whatever brand it is, Oreo cookies, M&Ms, to whatever is fucking is in the Fortune 500 catalog as here is what it is. And if Steph is going to all these things where she's getting awards, she knows that too. And that is their opportunity to draw in an audience that has the most expendable amount of money, because gay couples or gay individuals are usually highly educated and have well-paying jobs, and they usually don't have kids compared to other. And this has been the statistics up until, I'm sure it's changing as gay marriage becomes more across the board. But then that means they're going to spend money on you, and they have a cause, and you're attractive and sex sells. So you would get every fucking butch lesbian possible that would possibly start watching wrestling because they know there's bisexual girls on there. They might want them for eye candy reasons, but they're just happy that their community is being promoted in a way that's normalizing it. So we're missing on bringing in a micro demographic that is very supportive with an expendable income and following a trend that's across the board corporately, where we've come so close to it with Baylor Club for everybody. And then he doesn't want to play ball, gets sent to NXT, gets married on the sly. And when have we heard from him again? You know what I mean? Here it is again, presenting itself, but instead it's, hey, I'm gay. Turn off Twitter. Like, okay, everybody's stupid. Everybody's
you're more, you have more of a, from being in the Chicago scene and the comedy scene and the performance scene, you have
growing
more
up in theater, and it's a song and dance.
But I'm saying, you've known more people throughout your life with this walk of life.
Mm-hmm.
Will she and I don't know how it works, I'm just asking, by saying she's bisexual, will the gay community will they ostracize her because she's not purely gay? You see what I mean? Like, they can be like, well, you still like men, so therefore, you're not one of us. There's a lot of, it's a minefield.
Oh, there's so many micro demographics within it where they even name themselves different animals, from bears to otters and all this shit. But, with that, some of the more hardcore lesbians I know would just be like, she just isn't there yet. We'll get her there, and then other ones are, you're just dipping your toe in and what have you, and they look at you a certain way. But I think they're all under that same banner and flag. So it doesn't matter. But the fact that she's a worker and doesn't see that this is a way for her to become a figurehead, an ambassador in WWE, and then claiming your pride and then deleting your Twitter account, that's where the LGBT community will go, fuck you. Why would you do that? That makes us look stupid. That makes you look like you're embarrassed to be one of us because you don't want to deal with any of the blowback. You want to have all the accolades and be part of the movement, but you don't want to deal with the true frontline stuff that comes back to you. When the reality, it's a virtue signal text, so everyone can go, it's all right, we love you no matter what you are. And that's fine. She's a hot mixed chick who likes fucking other girls. Welcome to every man's fantasy.
You know what the funny thing is? Beth Phoenix and Lance Storm will tweet her, why don't you just give the girl a call or a text? This is very much by the way, she's replaced, they said she's going to be replaced by another blonde, and there you go. There's a new backstage interview for WWE. Nice.
I wonder when she'll come out.
She would love to interview you back at your office after the Senate hearing.
After the vaccines. But yeah, Stevie, that is our news for the day. We made it again.
I just don't understand that last one. You always get me with that last one. I don't understand it. If it's she should have announced it on Talking Smack and talked about it or did whatever. There's deleting the Twitter afterwards is very odd. You can just not pick up the phone and not open Twitter too.
You just go delete app, and then when you want it back on there and you feel, just re-download it. I even just taking the fucking, but they can't.
That's a hard sell, isn't it?
That's a hard sell. And what do we mean when we say that? Isn't like it's hard to sell a product to somebody. We're saying they're selling for and exposing themselves completely after they do one thing, and then the show don't tell of what you do makes everyone go, instead, at first they start like, oh, good for her, and then when she deletes it, they roll their eyes like, ugh, we're dealing
what's funny is compared to what they do, just give me a second here because I'll show you something. I'll let you finish your thought. I'm sorry.
It's just it makes you roll your eyes because it takes what you claim to be proud of, or you're tired of having to choose, and I'm going to be me, and I'm proud of me, but I guess I'm not proud enough to leave my Twitter up because I'm too sensitive for anybody who might say anything back to me. It's just, I'm telling you one thing, but my actions show a completely different side. And that's a hard sell.
Now, while this was going on, what I was going to tweet, because I don't tweet very much, because I was very proud of all this morning, I was working on the Batman 66 transition for my videos because I'm a nerd. I'm not cool like most people are. But here's what I have here. There's
I like it. I like it. That's excellent. Odin I
gotta get the motion blurred down, but I'm trying. That's how I spend my time. I don't go online and do whatever. And Sal was the one that actually, he got off Twitter. I didn't delete my, see, that's the thing. I didn't delete my Twitter account. I just hardly ever log into it ever. I don't think I've logged into it in like months. So I don't tell people to follow me. I don't do anything. I tweet stuff out from another app that shares from Instagram. So for me, it's like, it's not like I'm ignoring people because I communicate with people if they want to email me. Mostly it's just email. If you want to email me, you can do that. That way it's not anonymous and I know who I'm talking to, and nobody's going to really, although occasionally I do get the occasional death threat via email for being motivational. Like I'm such a negative, hate-filled person. It's like, you should die. You should die because you're a jobber that can't create a training program. You're not Chris Jericho. I'm telling you, dude, you wouldn't believe how many people that's what they end with. The fuck do you know? You're not Chris Jericho. You don't know how to work out.
Well,
okay.
You're not Chris Jericho, and neither am I. But shout out to Chris for doing whatever he does too, man.
Oh yeah, I think that's not a slight on Chris. I'm just saying, like,
I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that in every argument going forward. At the end, that's going to be my closer. No matter what, if I have to with Spectrum Cable, I'll be like, "You're not Chris Jericho."
Well, anytime I say anything that offends anybody at the end, now I just go, "Hey, I'm just a boy with a dream."
And the boyhood dream lives on as we get to cover another week of wrestling. I'll be back at about 1 p.m. or maybe a little after, depending on when Sue runs in, to talk Light the Fuse and all of this craziness with Shaq and Tully being back in the ring and, all the run-ins.
He looked great for his age. He's in better shape than some of the young guys.
Absolutely. The match was the shits, but what are you going to do? So Stevie, plenty of production going on here today at the missile silo for Hamin Media Compound. What do you got on the agenda?
Well, my wife, we downloaded the voiceover training course, so I'm going to start setting up one of the closets in here. We have a master bedroom closet where usually is the best place to do voiceover work if you got a shotgun mic. Obviously, all the mics sound like shit on, so I got to figure out what I'm going to get next. But I'm going to help her with that and get her voiceover career started with that, and also to help me to learn how to voice over certain things because these reads aren't getting any better. I'm sorry, X-Chair. I'll do my best. They're not getting it.
They're fine. And thanks to everyone who's been asked about the Roadcaster Pro. Definitely become part of Team Roadcaster. Jason hit me back, said there isn't any place that we actually send them, but you can go to roadcaster.com/ I think Roadcaster itself.
And roadmics.com, I think.
roadmics.com/roadcaster, and you can see where they're available. Pick your favorite store, but I wish we could do more to say, hey, HMG sent you there, but just tweet them and say I'm pumped to get my Roadcaster Pro because it's the best piece of equipment that I've used, especially at the price point, and what you get out of it is worth 10 times more, man, creatively. So they say your audio.
We still haven't got the most out of these because, like, this is a legitimate radio console. A legitimate, you can have an entire radio station. I just played that Odin Batman 66 clip. Thanks, Mike. Thanks. You're very, very kind. Saying my audio sounds wonderful. You can, like, my phone was hooked up and wired to that. So if you have Google Voice and you want to take live phone calls for a sports call-in show, a talk show, any of that stuff. And here's a little trick. This is what I want to do with the tech channel. Again, I know I keep dipping in and out of that, but little things like you can have 2 different phone calls, 2 different phone lines on here, one wired, one over Bluetooth. You can have the sound pads. You have all this stuff that legitimately, just the ability to take phone calls with a telephonic system, I believe it was called, or something like that, $1,100, $1,200, and you have to keep routing it and have a ton of wires. This stuff is plug and play, ready to go. The Aphex processors, I know I speak like in detail, but just over the years, you have a mixer right now. You had a mixer before. Just to dial in the sound, get the mix minus, do all this bullshit, get a DBX 286S, and then you have to dial that in just to be able to turn it on and off. And then if you want to kind of dial it in, you can do that. I just have, this is probably the best piece of production equipment that's been invented in the past 20, 30 years.
Absolutely. And Lord Jamar has it, and look how good he sounded, Stevie.
Fucking son of a
I
love him, but I hate him. Let me do my X chair read here. I got to get it in.
Go for it.
Okay, let me see here. Because all seriousness, we've been sitting here. The locker rooms just keep getting longer and longer with the headlines that are more ridiculous each time. And of course, conspiracies on the front end extend the show. This here, speaking of the best, this X chair has probably been the best investment I've made. I had a gamer chair, really enjoyed it for what it was, but for content creation, video editing, long podcasts like we have here, and having compression fractures in my lower back, this here between the DVL, the dynamic variable lumbar support, which just basically moves with you. It's kind of like I have a neck pillow when I sleep, so it kind of moves with how I move when I sleep. I was going to say when I work out, but you think I work out in my sleep anyway.
Yeah.
And the heat and massage. So I save time. After I'm done here, I literally turn on the HMT, the heat and massage therapy, and I can get right to video editing, right to post-processing, getting these reads to X chair, doing whatever I need to do without having to literally what I used to do was lay on the bed for like 20 minutes with a heating pad just to loosen my back up so I can come back here, sit down, and go back to work. So it's been great. And it is an expensive chair, but it probably will be the last office chair or production chair that you ever need to buy. And it comes with a great warranty. And of course, we're debating with X chair. These are not $50 wheels you're getting with the code Stevie X. They got to be $100, $150 wheels.
Yeah, especially
but they're free no matter what. So
yep.
It's like GameStop. It's like GameStop. The value just keeps going up. So xchair.com, enter the code StevieX, or let them know through social media or email that I sent you, and definitely try to, just like with Rodecaster Pro and Rode, hopefully it kind of spirals and webs out to other people in the Hamin Media Group and our production family.
Absolutely, man.
Is that better?
That was phenomenal as always. I just couldn't really hear you over your mic. ForceUSA.com. ForceUSA.com for great home fitness equipment as well. Use that code Stevie there, or is it just ForceUSA.com/Stevie? ForceUSA.com/Stevie, DiamondbackFitness.com/Stevie. People have said it's slowed down a little bit, and I'm afraid we're going to get a second wave because I think people, hopefully for the good of it, are saying, okay, everything is opening back up. Mm-hmm. But I really do urge people that they can shut it down just like that. So I hate to promote any kind of fear, but just build your home gym, be done with it. I've never looked back. You don't have to wear a mask. You don't have to, you can work out whenever you want. You can choose the setup you want. You don't have to wait for equipment. Same thing with the bands. If you just want to buy bands and the programs at StevieRichardsFitness.com, just take control of your fitness journey. Don't let someone tell you, yes, you may work out today, but only for an hour. But you need to make sure you're socially distanced. Oh, you can't. We shut this treadmill down, so you're going to have to wait till someone else's time. I've seen these things. Life and time is precious. Just invest in yourself, invest in the home or garage gym, and trust me, it'll be the last piece of equipment you buy. It'd be great. And then you might have some ghosts walk through your garage too, so as well. So we can get all that.
Happened this morning, dude.
Really? You had another
100%. I had the heater on me as I was on the elliptical, and I got a cold chill up my back as I'm on the elliptical with the heater blowing right on me. So,
you got to stop. You got to stop believing in the afterlife, and that stuff will go away.
Let me get one more. I just don't believe in you, so go away. Oh shit, sorry. We got another non-believer here, Carl.
We were so
by the way, I just wanted one more last thing. It's still up on the YouTube channel. It's one of my favorite things I ever produced and one of my favorite things that we've ever done together. We haven't been together, and we are going to resubmit this for a TV show. It's our paranormal investigation, Capitol Theater, Rome, New York. It's about 14, 15 minutes long, but it's one of my proudest moments of us doing stuff together and then producing it with minimum equipment and trying to make the best out of what we had. And I'm very proud of what we did that night.
Me too, man. That was one of my favorite bonding experiences in the history of my wrestling career and our partnership, friendship, and just making a great piece of content. And Capitol Theater is where I grew up, man. You know, that's since age 12. So to be able to share that with you guys and know what was going on. And then the girl breaks out the picture of the ghost. I was like, damn, I wasn't ready for that either, too. So a great piece we all got to work on. Check that out. The Conspiracy Horseman Paranormal Investigation at the Capitol Theater. It's on both of our YouTube channels, easily searchable. If you can't find it, just hit the call buzzer, and Tommy will come back there and hit you in the head with a tack hammer because you are a retard. But y'all, it's Hacker Hamin. It's Big Stevie Cool. It's the Friday Locker Room Infidels, free at hackerhamin.podbean.com, wherever you get your podcasts and shitty wrestling news. We'll be there. Y'all.